Today is Thursday, the second day of Chol Hamoed, Sukkot. We continue to celebrate this wonderful holiday of Zman Simchatenu, the time of our rejoicing. And today is the day of Moshe Rabbeinu. Each one of the 7 days of Sukkot is, while we have all the 7 guests who come to the Sukkah, one is the guest of honor, so to speak, and today is Moshe Rabbeinu. The quality of Moshe Rabbeinu is that he was the most humble of all people, and that humility is what earned him the greatness that he was the person to bring us the Torah. From this we learn a very important lesson, that a person should be humble, and the more a person is humble, the more he's able to absorb and to learn Torah. And that humility is actually what is represented by what Am Yisrael said, Na'aseh v'nishma. We will fulfill the mitzvot, and then we'll understand maybe the reasons for it. And so also ourselves in our private lives, as we follow the words of Hashem, we follow the words of Torah, we learn Torah, we should always do it with humility, in emulating Moshe Rabbeinu, and that is a quality that we highlight today, the quality of Moshe Rabbeinu. There is one concept about the Sukkah, which is the idea of spirituality. We leave the material homes, we leave the solid roof in the homes to go and dwell in a Sukkah for 7 days with a roof made only of vegetation, but symbolically representing the spirituality and coming to be protected by the divine, sort of the wings of the divine providence, of the Shekhinah. But there is one pasuk in Shmot that represents a very important concept to have in mind of the potential of what Sukkot has for each one of us. The pasuk says, "Vayis'u bnei Yisrael miRamesses Sukkota," that the Bnei Yisrael traveled from Ramesses. This is right after they went out from Egypt. They went from a place called Ramesses, and this is a place that they built in Egypt, Bittan, Ramesses. They traveled from this place called Ramesses to a place called Sukkot. And it's representative of the fact that they traveled from the materialism, from the slavery in Egypt. And Egypt, it was not just a physical slavery. There is also spiritual slavery that was in the atmosphere of what was in Egypt. And they traveled from there in one step all the way to Sukkot. Sukkot, representative of the spirituality of this holiday, to tell us a very important concept, that we do have the potential to leave behind all the ideas of materialism and the false safety in terms of what is physical, into the true protection of the Sukkah, into the spirituality of the Sukkah. So every year when we come to this point in time, we have this great potential to reach high levels of spirituality as we dwell in the Sukkah, as we have our meals in the Sukkah, as we celebrate the time of our rejoicing, the time of Sukkot. And this whole week of Sukkot will culminate, and the climax will come the day as Sukkot finishes. The next day, Shmini Atzeret, which is also the day of Simchat Torah in Israel. And here, since we have 2 days, the first day is called only Shmini Atzeret, and the second day is also Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah, as we celebrate the highest level of spirituality, which is the spirituality of the Torah, of our holy Torah. And says, on this holiday, we have the potential to leave behind what Egypt stood for, which was materialism and many other things that are negative about the Egypt. It was not just the physical slavery, but also the idea of no limits and a subjugation to type of Yetzer Hara. And Egypt was known as a place of depravity and immorality. So we leave all these negative ideas behind, and we come into the holiness and the spirituality of Sukkot, And that we can do on this holiday of Sukkot. חג שמח, מועדים לשמחה, חגים זמנים לששון, ברוך אדוני לעולם, אמן ואמן.